Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Held Dominance, Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe, and also click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you're seeing and want to see more. So in this video, unfortunately, we have to announce that another Australian legend has been forced to retire from rugby league with immediate effect. We're looking to the statement. It was announced on the 14th of June 2021, early in the morning in Australia, around about 8 hours from when I recorded this message. After which we will be looking into the scores from the Super League and the Women's Rugby League, and also a little bit of a story from why a couple of games in the Women's Super League were postponed. As I said, we begin with the announcement of an immediate retirement from rugby league, and the focus is on Boyd Cordner. According to the statements and all reports that are going on in the Cordner announcement, Boyd Cordner has broken down in tears after calling time on his rugby league career during an emotional press conference on Monday. NRL Yahoo reports. Cordner becomes the third high-profile Sydney Roosters player to retire in 2021, forced out of the NRL because of repeated concussions. The Roosters, New South Wales and Australia Test captain struggled to come to terms with the magnitude of the situation in a heartbreaking address to media in Sydney. As you all know, for the past 6 months, it has been really challenging time in my life in regards to head knocks and my health, Boyd Cordner says. Not at any stage did I think I'd be up here announcing this will be it for me. All I ever wanted to do was get back and play the game I love, and for the club I love. I'm at a stage now where I'm doing really well. I'm fine. I'm back at training with the team full time for a while now. I've been back, should I say. I was getting ready and prepared to play in a couple of weeks' time. I felt really good while I was at training. I was training really hard away from footy though. When I was at home, it was a different story for me. I felt a different way. I knew that it's a natural feeling when to come off what I've experienced at the end of last year. It was like my heart was telling me I wanted to play on, and I was doing everything that I possibly could, but my mind and my head were telling me otherwise. It was dragging me the other way. They didn't align at the end of the day. It would have been me physically prepared, but mentally just crossing my fingers. And I don't think that was safe at all. So he's got a great understanding of his body at this time, his mind and everything like that. He may, like you said, he may be in the best of conditions, but his mind is not in the right place, and that's not good for when you're playing our car crash sports. Mental health awareness there as well, and he sought help, and he's decided to put his career at an end so that his life can benefit. So he continues with his statement. For once in my life and my career, I had to put my own health and happiness first. It was an extremely tough decision for me to make. I spent hours and hours and sleepless nights trying to find a way for me to brush it aside and to play on. So he was so eager, because he loves the sport, to continue playing rugby league. It's what happens, it's our fix in a way. Whether it's watching, doing the videos like I do, or even just even playing it, coaching it, being an official. It's our way to be part of the sport. But Cordner has been trouble with concussions throughout for the last few years, to be fair. As the 29-year-old hasn't played since sustaining a head knock in the opening game of the 2020 State of Origin season. Cordner returned to the field in that game, but took no further part in the series, which Queensland won. Don't know why they mentioned that in this, because he's a New South Wales lad. Kicker man that is when he's down. He stepped away from the game to consider his future, but the Roosters had been upbeat about a round 14 NRL return for their inspirational captain. The comeback date passed, and the Roosters' heart-stopping 35-34 win over Gold Coast on Saturday, with speculation that Cordner's comeback had been put on hold. That was a great game, by the way. Gold Coast, if they play like that for the rest of the season, they'll be pushing towards the playoffs. They were great. So, Cordner joins former club captain Jake Friend in retirement in 2021 because of concussion issues. He also said farewell to Brett Morris after a career-ending knee injury, as I reported previously. One of the most reliable players in the game, Cordner figured in premiership wins with the Roosters in 2013, 2018 and 2019. He also led New South Wales to an Origin Series victory in 2018 and 19, and took over as the Kangaroos Test captain in 2018. Cordner still had 2 years to run on his Roosters contract, but he will instead end with 181 games for the Foundation Club, 20 matches for the Kangaroos, and 16 Origin games for the New South Wales Blues. It comes as another brutal blow to the injury-hit Roosters, who are without representative starts Luke Keary and Lindsay Collins because of long-term injuries. Cordner's medical retirement has been cleared by the NRL as well, according to media reports. His decision to walk away from the game on health grounds comes as the NRL launches a crackdown on head-high tackles. Shattered fans were quick to pay respects to the champion player after his heartbreaking announcement. So yes, the two-time World Cup winner as well has retired. Boyd Cordner, 29 years old, playing rugby league. It's what can happen in our sport, unfortunately. And I do appreciate what they've done for the benefit of rugby league players by the crackdown in headshots. It will force more and more people to adjust their tackling styles. They need to ramp it up, as in gradually, not the knee-jerk reaction. Put them all on report, these headshots, then determine them through a list. Or if they don't want to deal with it, or else they feel like that I feel like that they wouldn't want to deal with it. That's why they don't want the reports. They just send them off straight away and issue bans, even when some are not warranted. But anyway, we're stepping away from the marquee. I have watched him many a times through the NRL coverage over here in the UK, and he was a solid man, a go forward man. Still is as a person, but as a rugby league player I speak of in the past tense, so I apologise if there's any confusion in that. At this point I can just say good luck to Boyd Cordner. Thank you for being part of our wonderful game, and I hope you will continue in some way of when you have made the decision of what you want to do next. We'll look forward to what it is, because we know that you'll put your heart and soul into it like everything else. Again, thank you, Boyd Cordner. So my second story is in regards to the a couple of postponements that happened in the Women's Super League this weekend. as the games including Wakefield against York and Castleford versus Leeds, which were held at the same stadium as a double header on the same day, had to be postponed due to the lack of medical cover for the matches. It was not possible to arrange the necessary level of medical cover for all the matches. So one game was only held over the weekend for the Women's Super League, and I'll come to that in a little while. But the RFL confirmed that this was the issue, or why they called off the games. It was a sad sight when we saw St Helens and Wigan in the women's game was called off because of coronavirus. It was just one of those things. It can happen. We were expecting it, as we're still trying to get through all the vaccinations and everything like that, so that we can get back to normal. But yes, so it forced 5 players within the Derek Hardman's squad for St Helens to self-isolate after test and trace analysis was carried out following the 34-6 win again over York at Lee Sports Village in the Challenge Cup final. All that I can say is we must have the medical coverage, and it should be arranged massively in advance. We need to look into arranging this medical cover for the game, and also backup plans. Even if it means going into colleges and universities to get work experience people that are looking to get into sports science, sports medicine. Excuse me, I apologise. The burps are back. Yay. Anyway, as we're coming up to two different conferences in the south and also the north for the Betfred Women's Super League next weekend, we need that medical coverage for every single game. So we need to make a systemic effort to do so. Yes, we need backup plans for when every eventuality, but this is the main one. As we've found out that medical cover in sport is essential. It saved a football player's life this weekend. Yes, they did the right thing to call off the games, but they didn't do enough for the medical coverage. That's on the clubs, that's on the RFL. So let's change to the tack of the games that actually did go ahead over the weekend, as we start off on Thursday night, which is the 10th of June 2021, where we saw Castleford Tigers play Hull FC. We thought it was going to be a great game for Castleford to get back onto, I guess, some momentum in the Super League, considering that they lost heavily against Leeds, they won in the Challenge Cup semi-finals, and this was the next game along. And it started great, because Jason Karikari, in the first minute, made a name for himself. He tore a new one into Jake Connor, getting the ball out wide with his first touch in the open space, with Jake Connor coming over to cover, and he did a quick infield and outfield step and went round Jake Connor's despairing dive to try and get the tackle completed. It was some try. I've already posted on social media, you've probably seen it on social media, but go watch it. It was well done by this 17-year-old on debut. There was a good video on social media for the next day after that, where Jason was going back to his classes, and his school kids give him the bumps, well, give him a little bit of digs, and also the applause for actually doing that wonderful try. But the rest of the game, unfortunately for Castleford, didn't go so well, as Hull came out eventual winners 30 points to 12. Two tries from Swift and Cronulla, and Jake Connor scoring one himself, and conversions by Sneed 4 and Connor 1 were enough to take Hull over the line, who were in their own mini slump at this moment as well. After KK scored, the only other try was from Oliver Holmes, who was one of the two that announced that they were leaving Castleford at the end of the season, with Richardson scoring a conversion and also kicking a penalty. So in the Northern Hemisphere for the Betfred Super League, there was supposed to be 4 games on Friday the 11th of June. Huddersfield Giants versus Wigan and Leeds Rhinos versus St Helens were 2 of the games postponed due to coronavirus positive tests. But the first of the games that went ahead, well, they were running simultaneously. This was the one that was chosen for national TV. Was Hull Kingston Rovers versus Salford Red Devils, and again, Salford were the team that opened the scoring with Ken Seo, and then that was about it, because no conversions, no penalties were taken by Salford, as Hull Kingston Rovers ran in 40 points to 4 winners after a 16 to 4 half-time lead. Lawler Crooks, Takirangi, Kenny Dowell, Parcell, Ryan Hall and Kane Lynette all went over for tries, where Jordan Abdul scored 4 and Milner's 4 goals, conversions, and 1 penalty by Jordan Abdul sealed the game for Hull Kingston Rovers, who are ever improving, getting more flamboyance and more quality around them with Tony Smith's side. Like I said in one of my videos earlier, they're not going to be in the bottom 3, and they're now looking up at their neighbours. They have got a hard run to come in, as I think they're playing the top 5 one after each other. No, they play 4 of the top 5, and Hull Derby will be the game that comes up next. So that'll be an interesting game, especially with fans in attendance. I like Hull KR's way of playing at the moment, and hopefully it continues. So the next game on the Friday was Warrington Wolves versus Wakefield Trinity. Wakefield, buoyed after their win last time out, went into the game with a bit more confidence than what they had previously. Tries from Arundel, Fafita and Kershaw, and 3 conversions by Lino were not enough to get Wakefield the win this time, as Warrington Wolves came out 38 points to 18 winners, with Widdop, Curry, Mamo, and a hat-trick from Josh Charmley, with Gareth Widdop scoring 7 conversions, 1 a penalty, to win the game for Warrington Wolves. Jake Malmo has been better, getting better and better, being very, very effective on the offense. He's been one of the better players this year for Warrington Wolves. That's why I mentioned this. While Gareth Widdop is has a running game going for him. Bit more of a running game than we've seen before, whether it was last season with Warrington or with St George Illawarra. But yeah, with their coach leaving at the end of the season and Darryl Clark coming in the future, these boys are putting an effort in together for the coach that they have, and also a message out to the coach that they've got, that they are better than their semi-final defeat against Castleford would allude to. Wakefield, on the other hand, they're going to be in the bottom three, I'm afraid. If they keep their team that they have in the first, have every single week fit, then they've got a chance of getting a little bit higher. And if they get Tom Johnston back after his concussion issues and injuries, they might be a bit better, but it's not a deep bench for them, unfortunately. But I'm going to wish them the best. So there were two games in the Southern Hemisphere for the NRL, as Manly Seagulls firstly beat North Queensland Cowboys 50 points to 18, with Parker scoring 2, Olakautu scoring 2, Lawton, Croker, Foreign, Garrick and Walker all going over, and while Garrick's kicked over 7 goals. Tuolagi, Bowen and Tubiue Fidao scored tries for North Queensland Cowboys, and 3 goals kicked over by Holmes, Valentine Holmes. But yeah, it was a one-sided affair, especially when you come to the fact that neither Tom Travojevic was on the bench and Jake was called into the first team. They put on a show and absolutely decimated the North Queensland Cowboys. Queensland Cowboys are still in that transition area, but they did have Tuamalolo on the pitch, but it wasn't enough to inspire a team that is going through transition. But I hope they do come back, as they were near premiers they were premiers a few years back. They got to a few finals, and they need to rebuild this team. It's going to take a while. Now an epic game was happening as well, as Cronulla Sharks beat the Penrith Panthers 19 points to 18 with a last minute drop goal from Sean Johnston. Sean Johnston was good with the kicks as well, converting the 3 tries by Moylan, Johnson and Mulitalo. But Burton scored twice, and Crichton scored 3 goals himself, as well as Tygo to give Penrith some help to keep into the game and win this game. But as I said, Sean Johnson turned on the magic, got into drop goal position and hit the winning drop goal to complete the win for the Cronulla Sharks. So we'll move on to Saturday's games in the top tier of the North and Southern Hemisphere. As in the Super League, first of all, on the 12th of June 2021, the Lee Centurions faced the Catalan Dragons, and it was a humdinger. Lee went in at half-time 18-12 winners. 18-12 leading the game 18-12 at half-time. But Catalan kept their top of the table status with a 36-30 win in the end. Reynolds, Elliott, G, Helliwell and Braley all went over for Lee Centurions in a good fight at their homes at Lee Sports Village Stadium. Braley kicked 5 goals, but on the receiving end of Drinkwater, Maloney, Lange, Davis, Julian and Morgo tries. The last one is a talent, and hopefully he'll get better and better for Catalan and the French team when it comes to the World Cup. James Maloney kicked 6 goals, including the penalty, to give the win to the Catalan Dragons. Again, that was 36 points to 30 to the Catalan Dragons. Down in the Southern Hemisphere, though, in the NRL, As I mentioned earlier in the video, that Gold Coast and Sydney City Roosters fought a 35 points to 34 game. Defence is on top there, yep. And Gold Coast gave as good as they got. It was unfortunate, but they were on the end of a Walker drop goal. Gold Coast had Fogarty, Peachy, Kelly, Fasu, Malau going over, as well as Proctor, with Fogarty hitting 5 goals. Fogarty scored 2 tries during the game as well. He was best performer for the Gold Coast Titans in points scoring. Ikuvalu scored twice for Sydney Roosters, with Crichton, Tupou, Walker and Manu all going over. The Giraffe going over in the corner in his usual spectacular way. With Kieran scoring 5 goals, with Walker converting that drop goal to win the game for the Sydney City Roosters. 2 more games on the NRL front for the Saturday games. In the top tier, as the lower leagues had all games and a full fixture list going ahead. First of all, we saw Canberra getting back towards the form that they've shown before this season started, as they won 38 points to 16 at Brisbane Broncos. Chris, Hawari Nera, Sam Williams that is, Gula, Papali scoring. Getting his name pronunciation correct because I'm still going through Papalihi, that's it, my apologies. Valame and Whiten all crossing for Canberra Raiders. Sam Williams kicking 5 goals. Gamble, Newey, Cobo, with Arthur scoring 2 goals from the 3 tries for Brisbane Broncos, were not enough to get them back into the game, as Canberra came out convincing winners in the end. The other game in the NRL was Sydney City Rabbitohs, South Sydney Rabbitohs, my apologies, winning 34 points to 10 against Newcastle Knights. It was a close game up until half time, as Rabbitohs went in 12-10 in the lead, with 3 tries from Johnston and Sewer scoring 1, with 4 kicks from Adam Reynolds. Newcastle had Young and Mann going over, and Clifford scoring the only points for them, all in the first half, as South Sydney Rabbitohs were convincing winners in the second half. We go on to the 13th of June's games now, where first of all we have Melbourne Storm winning convincingly 42 points to 16 against New Zealand Warriors. Arima, Smith, Adokar, Hughes, Olam, Grant and Essenhuth went over for Melbourne Storm, with 6 conversions from Hines and 1 penalty were enough to give the Melbourne Storm the win. Maui Maulo scored a hat-trick for the New Zealand Warriors, and Nikorima converted 1 and kicked over a penalty to give the New Zealand Warriors 16 points in the game. But Melbourne, even though they have the Origin stars taking a breather and quite a few injuries, seem to be still playing the same brand of rugby and winning games convincingly. Also winning convincingly is Parramatta Eels, as Gutherson, Lusick, Blake, Moses and Sivo all went over in their 40 points to 12 win against West Tigers. Moses kicked 6 goals and also 2 penalties to convincingly give the win to the Parramatta Eels, 40 points to 12. Liddell and Roberts went over for Wests. Duahihi went up, scored 1 conversion, and Brooks Scott got the other for the West Tigers. And to finish off, as the game, as we're filming on Monday the 14th of June, there was 1 game on Aussie Bank Holiday Monday, as Canterbury Bulldogs beat St George Illawarra Dragons 28 points to 6. Averillo scored twice with Marshall King and Elliott all going over for tries for the Canterbury side. Averillo scored 3 conversions out of the 4 tries and also 3 penalty kicks, where Willem and Norman were the only point scorers for St George Illawarra in the first half, as at half time it was 8 points to 6 to Canterbury. But that is all the men's side. What happened in the women's game? The only women's game for the Super League sides. So it was the Women's Super League's only game of the weekend, and Huddersfield Giants were playing host against Warrington Wolves. But Warrington Wolves recorded their first Betfred Super League victory of the season after defeating Huddersfield Giants 44 points to 8. Michelle Davis opened scoring in the second minute with a terrific 70-metre break and raced clear to touchdown for the opening try, which the fullback converted herself to lead 6-0. A nice flowing move down the right saw Alice Evans dive in the corner, with Davis landing the touchline conversion before Danny Bounds scurried over from close range for a 4th try of the season, which made it 18 points to 0 inside 12 minutes. That was to Warrington Wolves. They were the overall winners of the game, but in the first 12 minutes they were out of sight. Huddersfield had their issues with the bomb and kicks, and putting down numerous times throughout the game, but they made a switch from fullback from one of the wingers to go fullback, and it eased up quite a bit. Sammy Simpson extended the lead to 22 points to 0, with Davis missing the goal after Abby Johnson produced a stunning offload near the try line. But Huddersfield hit back before half time with Frankie Townsend to give the half-time score of 22 points to 4 as the kick was missed by Huddersfield. Brogan Evans squeezed over the line to grab Warrington's 5th try in the 48th minute before Bryony Coombs powered away over the whitewash shortly after for Warrington again. The Giants hit back with Annie Looney following a superb offload from centre Erin Stott, but Simpson raced away to grab the second try of the game to put Warrington 38 points to 8 before Georgia Sutherland herself wraps up the scoring late on. There was a little bit of controversy a little bit earlier in the game, as Georgia Sutherland had put the ball down, but the referee determined it a knock on. She was stood up and put it down, but ref, no, knock on. So it was only match to take place over the weekend, and that finished the scoring as Georgia Sutherland wrapped it up for the entire game, as the conversion was hit by Davis. But yeah, it was unfortunate that all the games were called off due to various circumstances, as I said earlier in the game. But thank you for the spectacle that you put on, and anyone who don't know where to watch these games, there are games every Sunday on Twitch, whether it's 7 AM in Toronto or 12 PM UK time. So if you work out where you are at that time and you have the free time to watch the game on the Sunday morning in North America, late at night in Australia, I know that, or even if you are UK, it's free on Twitch. It's rugby league, it's women's Super League. Get out there and support the girls. Yes, there are varying different states of quality, but the more games, the more eyes, the more publicity it gets, the more influx of money it comes, the more confidence these girls get, and the better these teams become. my overall summary of the game: Warrington are looking as if they're getting closer to the quality of the teams like St Helens, York, Castleford, Wigan, just to name a few, because there are other teams that are a little bit higher up. They're getting closer quicker than Huddersfield. Huddersfield need a couple of players, some goal forward players. As outside centre, Erin Stott, with that offload, it was great work, but she played the entire game on the front foot and was great in defence. As well as the Huddersfield hooker, I can't remember her name, but they were the two players that were notable for the Huddersfield side and should be players that they should build around. But thank you for the game, girls. Great game. Keep up the great efforts. And that's it for another video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and share this video worldwide so that we can get all the attention of rugby league that it deserves. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.